I'm the Explore Program Manager in it. Basically his boss, you know. Oh, I thought you meant my voice. I thought you were like, who's talking? So I want to talk to you guys a little bit about the way that we're structuring Explore this semester. It's a little bit different from previous semesters. So basically we're doing a cohort style thing this semester, where each week you have a different workshop and you have different workshop series. So we have 4 different workshop series. We have web dev, or game dev, web dev, AI, ML, and then hardware. So each week you're gonna see a different style of workshop, starting with an intro workshop like this one, and then 3 more workshops that go a bit more into depth into different concepts relating to that particular track. And you're gonna do some projects, and in the end end up with something robust that you can put on your resumes, on your GitHubs, what have you. So this form, this cohort form right here, go.fiu.edu/initexplore, is basically gonna be an interest form for you guys to say, hey, I'm interested in this program, I wanna join, and you can choose up to 2 tracks for this particular section of the semester. But don't worry, after spring break, we're gonna repeat them all. We got them worked to the bone. So you guys can go ahead and check out those other tracks that you weren't able to do in the beginning of the semester. So once you fill that out, you're gonna start getting acceptances. And even though you will be part of a particular track, you can still attend all the workshops that you'd like, but we have particular incentives that you guys will get at the end if you attend all of the workshops for a given track. So we have deadlines for each one. Game dev deadline is going to be next week, Wednesday at 5 p.m., right before the second workshop for this iteration. Web dev is going to be the week after that, I believe on Monday. AIML Tuesday the week after, and then hardware Sunday the week after that. So all this stuff is going to be on the Discord as well if you guys need, but just a refresher so you guys have an understanding of when things close and when you need to be on top of filling this out. Then we have our explorehub, which is what Ricardo was telling you about, which is essentially a Notion page that I made for you guys to have access to all of the documentation for the different workshops. So let's say you missed the intro one for a particular track, but you're really interested in it. You can go ahead onto the Notion, download anything that you need, see what you missed, and then catch up on that next workshop that's coming up. Do you guys have any questions? No? All right, I'm gonna hand it off to Ricardo.
So, yes, I'm not going to scan this up.
Okay.
That was a lot of information. Basically, what it is Internet is doing something slightly different for us. The reason I asked who has been to my other workshops is because the biggest problem that we have in the first workshop is halfway through the workshop or 45 minutes, people are still installing tools, Unity, IDE, things like that, right? So we don't want anybody falling behind. That's the whole point of this workshop. This workshop, I'm gonna make sure that whoever wants to go through all the other 3 workshops, we're gonna code, we're gonna do everything else. By the end of this workshop, we're gonna have everything installed. Whoever's gonna go through all the other workshops. That makes sense? So the introduction part that this means is I wanna make sure that you guys have everything and don't fall behind. For those that are interested, right? Okay. Couple of QR codes, but again, you guys have the Notion, but this is to apply to be part of all the 3 workshops, very important. This is for my workshop, web dev, AI, hardware, everything. You have to either scan this or click on this link. Either one works. Do I leave it for improvements, settings, date? No? By the way, if you guys have any questions, please ask. It's a lot of information. Yes.
Can we sign up for multiple cohorts?
Yes. Right?
You can sign up for up to 2 at a time. So let's say this semester you want to do game dev and web dev, but then after spring break, they're all going to repeat. So at that point, you could do hardware and AI if you're interested. Just don't want to overload yourselves because this is going to be a workshop every week. So
Technically, you could go to all of them.
yeah, that's true. That's if you got the time.
If you want, go for it. This is for link and the QR for the web dev. That'll be next week. That'll be super awesome workshop. Okay, I promise you guys. Alright, I'll leave it on for a few more seconds. Okay. Can I take it off? Awesome. Yes. Alright. Who has done game dev before? I know a few familiar faces. You have to raise your hand. You've done game dev. One back there. Please keep your hands up. If you don't mind. wants to pursue a career in it? Really? Interesting. Alright. Right, I'm gonna ask a couple more questions. I want this workshop to be very interactive. I wanna get to know you guys. I think I have like 2 semesters left. After I graduate, I don't know if I'll be teaching again the workshops. This is probably the biggest turnout that we have gotten. For you to have a reference, I think you were in my last workshop last semester. We had like 5 people in that workshop. So, it's really difficult to get stuff in Canada. It's not very popular here for some reason. So, in the meantime, I want you guys to download Unity Hub. Who does not have Unity Hub installed? Either click on this link. You don't need to scan the QR code. It's pointless. But click on this link on the Notion and start downloading it. That's gonna take probably like 25 minutes. I'll go one by one. You're gonna have to create an account. It's all free. This Unity is gonna be the tool that we're gonna be using for all the projects. I'm gonna give you guys an option, several options actually, for the workshop. In it, and everyone in it told me not to do this, but I'm gonna do it anyways. I'm gonna give you guys 2 options. Actually 3. I'm gonna show you guys the 2 workshops that I've taught throughout the last 3 semesters. And then I'm also gonna open it to you guys. If you guys wanna build our own workshop and come up with 4 ideas that we can build in the next 3 workshops, I'm down for it. As long as you guys are down for it, I don't mind. And we'll do it all day. Right? So, very important, start downloading Unity Hub. That's gonna take a little bit, right? After that, I want you guys to download this project link. That's gonna take you to a Google Drive. It's my Google Drive, I promise. I'm not giving you anybody's. And that's already a preset project that I have from the previous workshop. And it just has a couple tools installed and a couple of free apps. So we can have things already moving, right? Start downloading both of these things because it'll take a little bit, right? Anybody does not have access or hasn't found how to download each one of them. Guys, this is the time to ask questions. If you don't ask questions now, in the next workshop, yes.
Where is it located on there?
Oh, right. So, if you go to this link here, you're gonna have the Notion and you're gonna have all the information. So, I want you guys to ask questions. I want this to be, I don't want to stand here and just talk to you guys for like an hour and nobody says anything. I want this to be a 2-way road, right? I want you guys to ask me questions. I want you guys to pitch ideas. If you're working on anything, again, those of you who raise your hands, I'm gonna go one by one and ask you your experience again there. And we'll go like that, right? You have a question?
Click the link for, I click the project link and it pops up another window saying there is a problem with the preview.
Yeah, just click download. Right, because they won't show you a preview, but click download at the top right. Okay. Download anyways. I promise I'm not giving you away. Those of you who raise your hands that have done game dev before, who have worked in Unity before? You didn't raise your hand when you said, I asked about game dev.
I did know, but.
Watch it. Alright, raise your hand again, please. Unity. What does it mean? Power code storage? Anybody have this? Someone? Who has not taken programming 3, aka systems, I think it's called? Has not taken. Okay. Who has not taken programming 2? Who has not taken programming 2? Okay.
You could do MIS. Information systems, it's in the business school.
You have a page for everyone?
You should.
Honestly, you will probably learn more about programming here than any program.
Or they fly you out.
Not bragging.
Yeah, because it's for women in data. Yeah, Bloomberg. Women in data. It's probably on LinkedIn.
Alright, this is Unity Access Store. I want you guys to access this link if you can. When you use Unity, make sure to log in with an email and password that you know, because you can also use it in the Access Store, and it has to be the same link, the same account, because they merge. So whenever you have something free, like for example, let's say you're working on a project and you just need free assets. Again, you can't make money off of this, off of the free assets. So make sure, read all the, whatever, they have, one of those things, you gotta make sure that, because if you get a free asset and release a game and you get super popular, they will take all your money away. So don't make games and release them with free assets. But for projects like here in school, it's very useful, right? You don't have to spend money and they have a bunch of free assets, yes.
So if you make your own model.
If you make your own model, yeah, you're good to go. But not everyone has the ability to make. So for example, if you go here and Wi-Fi is super slow, I think it's because we're all downloading Unity at the same time. This is literally what happens in every workshop. We are 20 minutes into the workshop. By this time, I'm already halfway through my code. The problem, nobody can keep up because everyone's downloading Unity, everyone's downloading IDEs, everyone's downloading other tools. So this workshop style is a lot better, a lot different. Because we can just make sure that everything is set up, then to jump into the workshop. Yes?
What's the download? Like, where do I go again?
Right, so go to the Notion here. Try to go to this Notion. Try to go here. Go to this link, and then this link is gonna give you access to the Notion, and there you have all the links for downloading projects, Unity Hub, everything. If anyone's installing anything and needs help, let me know. Once you guys download the project, you are gonna need help because we have to do a little bit of a process. By the way, once you guys install the Unity Hub, it's gonna prompt you to install a Unity version. Skip it. Because if not, some faces looked up like, you put it to download, you can download it, it's not gonna break anything, but it'll take longer. So you don't really have to. Somebody have a question? By the way, ask me questions, guys. I want to make sure that everyone has everything and all the tools installed. Does everyone has anybody downloaded the project on Google Drive? Has anybody been able to access that? You were able to access it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like a while.
Right, but it's downloading for you?
Yeah, like it's
Oh, it's done? Okay. See, we just know a different problem, but I think it probably is, it's blocking it, thinking it's a virus or something like that. That's most likely. No, you can just skip it. Because you're gonna have to install it once they give you the money. So it doesn't take as long. Somebody else? Alright. So if you go here to the Unity Asset Store, let's say for example you want some characters, and you're gonna need tools, trust me. For projects here, you need tools. Remember, the thing about game development is we don't just code. You gotta make sure things look pretty. When you have a video game, if it doesn't look good, nobody cares how hard or how good your code is. Nobody will care. So you have to make sure that it looks good. If you don't have the tools, you can access them here, and eventually, hopefully, you get somebody who knows how to do 3D models or anything like that, and then you have a full team. But number one, you have to make sure it looks good. You could have 2,000 lines of code. Nobody will care if it looks flat. Nobody. It's not like an app or how it looks, it's super duper important. Actually, I would dare to say that it's more important than the actual code. So, let's go, you can go here, for example, you go to cell, I don't know what I'm having.
No folding.
And then you can go to price, and you can go to free. Again, depending on what you're looking for, you're gonna have, different assets. So just make sure to use this tool as well. Something else that I want you guys to use that I didn't put in the notion. What was it called? I'll find the link somewhere. Remind me if you guys are interested, there's another link that comes straight from Adobe, and they have an entire stack of animations. So for example, let's say you have your character, you want to bring it to life. Adobe has animations that are already pre-written. You could upload your character and have it already with animations, and then you can monetize them.
You say how it looks. What do you mean by that?
What?
You say how it looks in game. You said how it looks in game.
Right. Well, I mean, the thing is, the most important part in video games is your art style. It doesn't necessarily have to be high polygon. It doesn't necessarily mean that it has to be ultra realistic. Whatever art style you decide to go with, it has to be appealing to the user. Because if you make I've seen this time and time. If you make something and you think, oh wow, this code is really cool, but it doesn't look appealing to everyone else. It could look appealing to you. But you have to make sure when you're making a video game, you have to reach the biggest audience that you can. And it has to look appealing to the people around you. The best example is, here at FIU, you have a bunch of students, and a bunch of, like for example, we have build going on next week or the week after. You have the opportunity to build a game and reach out 100 or 200 people to play your game and get feedback, see what they think. Does it look bad? Does it look good? So, yeah, it's all gonna depend, but it has to be appealing. It has to. There's no other way for video games.
For that link for Adobe, we're talking about Mixamo?
Oh, you're my man. Mixamo. There you go. Have you used Mixamo?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. So, Mixamo is by Adobe, and it has actual animations that you guys can download and have. And you can animate your character for free. Adobe just for some reason just gives it up for free. Anybody having issues installing anything? Yeah, no, well, if it takes this long to open a website, yeah, I think. No, skip. Because you're gonna have to install the editor once you download the project anyways, so if you install another one, it's gonna be double. Wow, that might be really small. FIU must think we're doing something crazy in here. Right. And also the project is like almost 2 gigs. So multiply times 50, we're probably downloading like 150 gigs additional. Try to use this if you can. You guys can also use this link for our workshop. And I'm gonna explain to you guys how you can definitely use it. So again, you have a bunch of animations here for free. Remember, this is one of the few things that you can use for free and monetize it. You could make money out of this animation. You can use it for any projects that you currently have. I use it for all my projects. So for example, make our character dance.
You got like 40 people downloading
I
Uni at the
know.
same time.
I know.
It's a tough one, yeah.
Look, your character is doing thing dance. No, anything. You can upload your character here. Now we have a preset character, but you can upload your character somewhere where it says upload. And you can put it there. As soon as it's written correctly, it'll put any animations that you currently have. So this is a really good tool. And it's why I told you. It's a really good tool. Right. That's not loading my tool, so just go back to the motion. So I already showed you guys the Unity access. Now, here's the workshop ideas. This is where I want you guys to also talk to me. Remember, I want this to be a two-way road. I want to talk to you guys, and you guys will talk to me as well. Whatever you guys think. These are two workshops that I've had. I've done an endless runner. So who has been to my endless runner workshop? Nobody. That's way too old. That's 3 semesters ago. Nobody. And then bring your character to life. You went to that workshop. Anybody else went to this workshop? No? Right, so 2 completely different approaches. First workshop, very, I would call it very level design heavy. Low on coding. We're still gonna do coding, but very high on level design. This workshop, second workshop, very heavy on coding. Very heavy. Actually, almost everything coding. Difference here is Endless Runner. I'm gonna give you guys a beginning to end project. You're basically gonna have a replica of Subway Surfers. Who remembers Subway Surfers? Oh, okay. So you're basically gonna have the same concept. It's gonna be endless. I'm gonna show you guys a trick how they did it and how they made millions of dollars by doing a stupid trick. By the way, what do you guys think in Subway Surfers or similar games? What do you guys think? The map moves or the character moves? There are no wrong answers. Who thinks the map moves? Who thinks the character moves? So when you guys say the map moves, do you mean the map is moving towards the player and the player is static? Or you mean, who thinks it's true what I just said? So the map is moving towards the player is static? Raise your hand. That's like half of the room? Okay. The other half of the room thinks that the player moves and the map just keeps generating? Right? Okay. So the player is static. The map is the one that moves. And you guys think of an idea of why that is? Yes.
No, what if you're doing like multiplayer?
I'm so sorry, I cannot hear you.
What if you're in like multiplayer? How would that work? Because like community is
Easy, because
they have their
I'm gonna get back to that question. What do you guys think that the map moves and not the player?
So that when something's not in view, they can like save sort of like performance and just like removing it.
You can remove it if it's behind you.
Or sorry.
There are no wrong answers. I'm gonna go against whatever you guys say. I'm gonna go against everything you guys say.
Because yeah, that idea I think is like the graphics are like being okay. Wait, I'm trying to word it.
You want me to read it back to you?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Thinking that if the player was someone that's moving, the camera has to keep up with the player and not because the camera also has to be static, right? Unless it's like depending on different situations, but
But why do you think that's the way to do it?
what do you mean?
Why do you think they chose to move the map and not the player?
No,
I'll tell you a hint. Moving the player is a lot easier.
Yeah, I'm trying to answer that question, right? But I'm trying to get to it. So what I think, what I believe is happening is that like, if the player is running for so long,
Right.
their coordinates are gonna like be.
Right. You know the answer. You got it.
I got it.
Yeah. You know the answer. I want to see how many wrong answers. Go ahead. It's easier to go the player to move, actually. In my opinion.
The object can like pass a boundary, like go into the word.
map can't be infinite, so like.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Basically, the whole point is, if you have something moving endlessly, you're gonna get to a coordinate that is way too big. If you have your player move, you can delete all the map behind you. That's not a big problem. Performance is not a big deal. You can delete it anyways. But if your player keeps moving, when your player gets to 99999, if somebody plays for long enough, that's gonna break your game, right? So the way to fix that is your player stays in one same spot, the map moves, gets deleted behind you, and it's stationary in front of you a little far so the player doesn't see it. That's it, all magic. It looks like the player is running, but it's not. It's just an animation and the mouse moves backwards. Pretty cool, huh? With that concept, that's probably like, I don't know, 300 to 400 lines of code. Somebody made a couple $1 million. Wow, huh? Yeah.
Isn't that what happens in Tetris? It's an endless game, but you could theoretically beat it if you get to a huge amount of score, it crashes down.
Right, probably, because back then they weren't thinking of issues like that. Now it becomes more, again, it's very easy to do something wrong, especially in game development, because this turned off. It's very easy to do something wrong in game development because there's so many ways for the player to break your game, and you can't even think it. That's why the most important part, whenever you're building something, is tell your friend, not play this game, try to break it. When I'm building anything, I'm like, all right, try to break it so I can see what I have to fix. Because at some point, something's gonna break it. Look at all these AAA games. People have like 500 developers working for them, and you glitch on the first fence you bump into. Isn't that wild? But this is how it is. So it is. Game development, there's so many approaches, so many ways. You have to prepare for everything. So, that's your first workshop. We can pick one of the two or do this, which the president just left, so we can do whatever we want. This is a project that, from beginning to end, bring a character to life. It's also a project, but it's more of a template. With this project, I can only give you guys this project. With this project, I can give you guys a template for all of your next projects. So, what do I mean by bring a character to life? This is the endless running. How it looks, we can make it look however we want. I call it chicken dash, right? I saw a couple hands up. Let me answer a couple questions. Who had a hand up?
Oh no, I was literally just gonna ask like how the bring the character looks.
Right, yeah, I'm gonna put that up. And I feel like I saw another hand.
Bless you.
Thank you.
And then this is bringing character to life. So in other words, whatever it decides to do. Okay, there's no. Awesome. Give us a second. There you go. So, what I mean by that is, I'm giving you guys a template with this workshop, and I'm giving you guys a project with the Endless Runner workshop. With this template, you could replace this character with anything that you want, and this map with anything that you want, and the scripts with anything that you want. In other words, you can build any game with this workshop. If you get the code behind building your own player, you're gonna redo that code every single time you start doing a new game. Because you need a player, right? In the other workshop, you can only build this. While it is very fun and very cool, it's a little limited. This one is more complex, or you can do a lot more things with it. So I'm gonna let you guys choose. On top of that, there's a third option that I gave you guys. That, honestly, you guys wanna pick any idea that you guys are curious, like, man, how do you build X, Y, and Z? Go for it. Like, for example, somebody back there asked, oh, how do you do this in multiplayer. That's why I wanted to get to that question later. Multiplayer is an illusion. It really is. When you play with somebody else, there's nobody there. You guys know why? There's nobody physically in the game next to you. All it is whoever's playing on their computer, console, whatever, sending the stuff, and from the server, you're getting a coordinate or an action or animation, and it's just telling the ghost that's next to you in your computer to do X, Y, or Z, right? That's all it is. It's just crazy, but that's all it is. You send whatever you're doing to a server and get it back from the server, and you have a ghost friend next to you. That's all multiplayer is, and the bones of it. Nothing else. There's no crazy magic, no. And then there's prediction. Anybody know what prediction is? And for example, in COD you have bullet prediction. It is called. Anybody want to guess? By the way, there's no wrong answers. Actually, wrong answers are preferred.
Well, I know that in fighting games, you take net back and roll back, or they try and predict your movement,
Right.
for this life or whatever.
Right.
There's like algorithms, where, if the player, for example, is like lagging, it will like try to adjust to it. I think it's called extrapolation and interpolation.
Right, which Unity has both of them. So in other words, all it does is basically a super complex fancy formula that calculates your ping or how fast or slow your internet is, and the stuff that you're doing, and you're trying to predict whatever you send into the server. So if it detects that you're kind of slow, it'll do its own thing, whatever it's coded to do. Sometimes it's meant to stay in one place and lag. Sometimes it's meant to try to predict how far you walked if you were walking before. Yeah, but what I'm trying to explain is it's all an illusion. There's no somebody else playing with you, and it's wild, right? So, with that said, by the way, everyone's downloading Unity Hub in the project, right? Does anybody need help with that at the moment? No? Okay. I want to hear from you guys. If nobody raises their hand and says anything, I will lock that door and nobody can leave. So, tell me a concept, or tell me something that you wanted to build, whether it's have a character open a door. I don't know. Tell me something you want to build, and I'll tell you how it's done. Again, I would lock that door. Sorry.
Fishing. I like fishing.
Fishing. Okay. Simple enough. I mean, fishing, it's you would probably create a probability. So, I mean, physically you have a character, you have the water, and then if you want to have something visually, you can have the actual fish. Depending how accurate you want to make it, you can make an actual fish with physics, which would be very simple. Just add a rigid body to the fish and just give it the direction that you want to swim. You can take several approaches. You can take one approach. Whenever it physically hits, then you can catch a fish and you can bring it. Or you could add a probability and make it kind of like a mini game, and sort of, depending on your reaction time, there's a 1 to 10 chance. You can use random range. If it's 7, whenever that happens, you catch a fish. Yeah, many approaches. Anyone else? Pretty good, pretty good.
Non-Euclidean objects.
I'm sorry.
Non-Euclidean objects, so like things that, things that happen that are, or in the space that is impossible in real life.
Complex question.
Have you played Superliminal?
No. Explain the concept to me again.
So
I
like,
find it a challenge, so we're gonna figure it out.
so like you can like, for instance, they use like non-Euclidean objects to like grow and shrink objects in place.
Shrink objects?
Yeah, and grow objects in place.
Well, that's easy.
And yeah, it creates like a really cool vision for your system.
Okay, well, so if it's, again, I got from that shrinking and enlarging. Shrinking and making an object bigger is pretty simple. Once we go into Unity, you have, actually it's right here to the top, which is not here. You have your transform. Your transform has location, which is a vector 3, which is your x, your y, and z coordinates. In the 3D space, you need all those 3 coordinates. You have your rotation, and then you have your scale. Your scale goes to be 1, 1, 1, x, y, and z. If you want to make it smaller, just change that value. You put object dot scale, and then put it to 0.1, for example.
Yeah,
It'll make it small.
yeah, but like when you walk like towards it, it gets bigger, right?
Right.
Because it's like like adjusted to its
Alright.
design, if that makes sense?
Easy. So for example, Unity has something called vector well, doesn't have something called. What it does? Vector.distance. Vector.distance is it's a 3D vector that you can use. For example, if I have a 3D vector, all it is 3 floats. The location that I'm currently in, and the location that you're currently in this 3D space, right? If I know your location, I don't know my location, I can just subtract and have the difference between you and me, right? So, if I subtract those 3 vectors, I get the distance, and if I get the distance, I can just multiply it out, just come up with a formula. If it's small, make it big. If it's big, make it small.
And then, let's see, what about like illusions that's related to, still relating to the non-nuclear, like for example, like if a house that you're in currently is like bigger than it is on the outside.
Right.
How would that be done?
Well, that's usually done with different scenes. So, you would transition, whenever you go into the house, way I would do it, and the way that it's basically done, I would transition to a different scene where you can make the house as big as you want. And that's it, you're good. Anybody, I know there was a lot of other questions.
Yeah, I actually just have a question, Ricardo. So you had mentioned that for the second idea, you guys could build a player controller and that kind of give them the building blocks for making their own game. What's the main advantage to kind of building out that fully fledged project across the 3 workshops?
Right, so, the main advantage of building your own player is you can replace this player. You can replace this player and have it with any other player that you want. So you could use it for your own games. The other workshop, you can't use it for anything else. You can just replicate what I did. This one, you can use it for anything. Let's say after a workshop, you made up your mind, you're like, you know what, I want to build an actual game. 99% of the chance, you're creating that screen. Because you need movement, unless you're not doing 3D, but you should definitely do 3D. You should definitely do 3D. So, whatever you're doing, you have to replicate that code. You need movement, you need jumping, you need interactions, you need rotation of your camera. I'm not sure you guys have a couple of tricks that I have to make it easier, so you're gonna need that code. But I'll let you guys choose.
Why 3D? Why not
If there's a point where
Huh?
every single
Why
game,
exactly 3D, not 2D?
Well, I mean, I'm a little biased. From back there, who she's kind of hating me right now because she knows 2D. I like statistics, and I study the game a lot. I study the field of game development. When you do the math of how many 2D to 3D games are relevant, again, you could go 2D, and very good, follow your passion. But for a 2D game to make it, it's a lot harder. And you're also limited. You're limited. You have less possibilities of stuff you can do with your map. Your map can only be so big because you're seeing it on your screen. You have to keep loading. Again, it's all biased. Don't let me persuade you otherwise. But I'm just giving you my advice. If you like one or the other, go for it.
Does 2D like bird's eye view 2D games?
No, that's technically called 2.5D, and at the end of the day, it's 3D. It really is. Back there, you had a question? You had a question?
yeah, a point where like every single game has to load in the exact same like 3D model.
I can't hear you this time, sorry.
If there's a point where every single game has to get the same like 3D rendering system, like let's say I'm playing Seizure or Minecraft and I need to like, move in a certain way, shouldn't you be able to like download like off the internet?
You mean download preset scripts?
Yeah.
You could, oops, sorry, hold on. You could, but I like to reinvent the wheel. You know, it's a lot more fun if you can make your own physics. I'm currently building a first-person controller, and I'm almost 1,400 lines of code. And all it does is just moves really cool. So again, it's just, I like as it gives you more flexibility. If you end up building something along the lines, and you have something preset, you're probably not gonna be able to code or modify everything. Just because, let's say that they're hard coding, I don't know, the position, somehow. If you need to teleport your player, you're screwed. You gotta start over. And if you think of the idea of teleporting your player halfway, 6 months in, you have to take back 6 months that you're already working something else. So I like doing my own codes. I get assets from everywhere, never a single line of code. All my codes are made by me. Even if nobody likes it. I do get criticized a lot of my coding. But yeah, I do everything myself. Yes.
I was gonna ask, size up, you said 14,000 lines of code?
1400.
So just for movement, like what the movement, you know what I'm saying?
So the code that I'm currently working on handles a lot of things within one script, which I like. Some people don't like, but I like. I like to handle everything in one script. Why? Because when you're transitioning, if you're considering transitioning to multiplayer, it's a lot easier to have everything in one code. Instead of having 10 different codes for 10 different things, and then you have to sort of sync everything together. What I mean by that is, for example, my code handles my player, I randomize the look of my player whenever it generates in a new. So for example, it'll have a different shirt, different pants, whatever, it'll be completely different. I'm handling that in one script. Same script, I'm handling movement. So I move to the right, left, forwards, and then I'm rotating my camera. Also, I personally, which I think everyone should consider, I like little details. Little details. If you look at a lot of scripts that you get off the internet, and then you move your player moves like a robot. We're not robots, so it moves like this. And it goes like this. No. My player, it moves and then the hands sort of have a little lurk to it, yeah. And then when you move to the left, they sort of move again. And when you move up, and then, again, little details like that. And all of those have to be coded by you, you know? So it has, I would say, like 500 lines of code just in little details. So, and movement like that. Also, jumping is very important. I mean, the sound is super important. I have the sounds of footsteps, and it'll vary depending on how fast you're going. If you're going fast, if you're going slow. I have so many details in that code that I have, if you sprint, your character will start feeling and then you hear the breath a little louder and louder and louder. And then once you take a break, it'll go, it'll relax a little bit. So I like little details. It makes something feel more than what it actually is.
How do you make games like Pokemon, like those pixel games? Like you treat it like as a 3D game or as a 2D game?
Well, which Pokemon? You mean the old pop version that is?
Yeah.
Those are 2D. You can do 2D with sprites and you don't have to render it in 3D or anything like that. So those are definitely 2D.
We got 10 minutes left. I don't know if you want to take that vote.
Right.
Yeah.
Awesome. So, everyone's good downloading stuff, right? I need you guys to have everything downloaded by next time we meet. I can dedicate like 5 or 10 minutes, but it'll be really difficult.
I think at the beginning of the workshop, we were talking about how technically we could go to the other, like even though we're signed up for 2, we could technically go to the other ones. That's fine to just like go even without the.
Well, this is what you're gonna say. Yes, David?
No, yeah, I'll just chime in on that just a little bit. So for the specific cohorts, if you are part of those cohorts, really the incentive is that you guys will get a couple of goodies and rewards at the end of that cohort just for being one of the cohorts. Yeah.
Alright. Let's pick. What workshop do you guys want me to do? You guys want endless running? Raise your hand. What? You guys want this workshop? Across the board?
Yeah.
It's a lot more coding. Awesome.
I have y'all.